The thing comes ready with a 3.5-inch barrel, and it is chambered in 9mm. So before we dive into this gun, I just want to give a shout out to Flawless Firearms. They're the one who, got this gun in my hand and allowed me to do this review. So shout out to them if you're interested in, any guns, anything like that. They've got a fantastic selection. They've also got a really great, like a membership setup where you can get great deals on guns. So if you're interested in that, check them out. That information will be down in the video description below. But let's dive into the Sig Sauer Copperhead. All right, so first up, a couple tech specs on this bad boy. This thing is coming ready with a 3.5-inch barrel with an integrated flash hider on the end, and it's just nuts how short that thing is. You can see the barrel. It feels crazy on this little submachine gun style setup. We're working with a short stroke gas piston system. It's kind of set up like an AR, as you can see. I mean, we've got all the same functionality. We've got your mag release, your safety selector switch, takedown pins, bolt drops. All that stuff is set up how you're used to on a standard AR-15. So the action is set up on a short stroke gas piston, which the website claims will allow you to run any type of 9mm ammo with no issues, not needing to adjust anything in the action system itself. I will say we just shot Remington through it and it was totally fine. I had zero malfunctions. We only put, I don't know, maybe 100 rounds through this thing, but we had no issues whatsoever with it. One of the more interesting things about this gun is this stock. So they call it their PCB, their pivoting contour brace. It is a 2-position setup. So this is obviously in the collapsed position. All you do is pull this thing straight out. Now you've got an extended kind of little stock brace right there. It does expand if you want to, put your arm through it and use it like a proper brace. The other thing that's nice about it is it actually turns back and forth. So you can change the angle in which you're holding the gun and that stock will still be flat against your shoulder. In order to collapse it, there's just a button right here. Press that button in, kind of need 2 hands to do it, but then that thing collapses back down. Super simple, super easy. I think I like that better than a folding option. It keeps everything in line. It doesn't add bulk over here. And it's just, I don't know, it's a little bit cleaner and easier for me. Now, I think there's 2 options. The one that we got comes with a 20-round MPX magazine, again, chambered in 9mm. I really liked loading this thing. It's got a really wide opening up top and it kind of staggers the ammo back and forth. So it doesn't beat up your thumb at all. Like you can kind of load it like an AR mag where you can just put the 9 just straight on top and press straight down, instead of having to go in and kind of slide back like you do with a lot of handguns. So loading this thing was a breeze. And then, as I mentioned, everything is kind of set up like an AR, and it is all ambidextrous in the sense that safety selector switch is on both sides, magazine release is on both sides, bolt drop is on both sides, charging handle is accessible from both sides. The only thing is the ejection port is only on this side, otherwise you're full ambidextrous. Now in terms of size, lengthwise, we're at 14.5 inches collapsed. Width is 2.4 inches. Height is 8 inches and weight is 4.5 pounds. So overall, an extremely portable package, very compact, and yeah, it makes for an interesting shooting little gun. So now that we've kind of covered the objective stuff, let's dive into some pros and cons, my experience with it, and then we'll wrap this thing up because I forgot we only have 5 minutes and I feel like I've been talking for a while already. So first up on pros is the accuracy. So this thing is, like I mentioned, only a 3.5-inch barrel, and the accuracy kept blowing me away. So as soon as we got it set up, I threw a Sig Romeo up on top, took it out to like 10 or 15 yards, and I shot like a 5-round group or something once I was sighted in, and like all 5 rounds were touching. Now I understand that that's not necessarily far away or anything, but it's a 3.5-inch barrel. I was extremely happy with that grouping, and overall very happy with the accuracy throughout the entire day. Another pro is just obviously how small, how portable this thing is. Another huge pro is obviously just the size and portability of this thing. I mean, it's the perfect size for like a backpack gun. You can still have an optic on, extra mags, all that stuff, and this is easily fitting into most tactical style backpacks, and honestly probably most bags in general. So I really like how portable it is. I also really like the collapsible stock in relation to like a traditional fold over or something like that. For the reasons I listed before, it's just a little bit cleaner and sleeker to me. And finally, it's just a fun gun to shoot, man. It's relatively inexpensive. I mean, comparing it to, 223 or something like that, you can shoot 9mm, relatively speaking, all day compared to a lot of the other calibers. So I really did like that about it. It's just, as soon as you get used to its kind of quirks, and we'll talk about the quirks in a minute, but as soon as you get used to those, it's just a blast to shoot, man. I mean, you can change targets so fast, you can run and gun with it, and it's obviously one of those guns kind of at the range that you're gonna get a lot of looks from, you're gonna get a lot of people just kind of checking this thing out, and that's kind of fun. Now diving into the cons, the first thing is the trigger. I cannot stand this mushy thing they call a trigger. Oh, this trigger is so bad. Now, before I filmed this video, I did a video on my AR pistol, my custom built one with a Geisley trigger, and you know, I was shooting that for probably an hour before I shot this. So it could just be the fact that I was going from a Geisley trigger to this, but this thing was an absolute nightmare to get used to. When you pull this trigger back, it's a single stage, so there's no wall or anything. It's just kind of mush, 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 and then it finally breaks. As far as the reset isn't bad. It's really, really loud and, you know, audible, and it does kind of jump out to it as long as you let it. But it's just all that mush in the take up. Now, don't get me wrong, this thing isn't meant to be a marksman's gun. You're not really meant to be just tack driving the same hole over and over with this thing. You know, I think it's meant to be a little bit more of a portable kind of combat style gun. And for that, the trigger is completely fine. I think it was just kind of, relatively speaking, like I said, coming off of that other trigger. I'm not sure, but I would assume you could probably drop in another trigger as well. So not the end of the world. Just out of the box, this doesn't quite live up to what I was hoping it would be. The next con I experienced is when this thing is pulled out and you're right here, especially when you have a little red dot right here and you're trying to look through that red dot, it means you've got to put your cheek up against this little metal bar. And it's weird and it's scary because if you're used to shooting larger guns, if you can imagine putting your cheek onto a metal just bar of another bigger gun, it's gonna hurt. The recoil is gonna dig into you. So it took me a while to get used to actually putting my cheek on here and feeling okay with it. And obviously the recoil is pretty much non-existent, being that it's a 9mm, but it does take some getting used to. It's obviously not super comfortable. Yeah, I mean, it is what it is. With the gun being kind of this profile, it does require you to get down here in order to look through a sight. So it is something you kind of have to get used to if you want to look through a sight. The other thing with the stock is I really do like how this rotates back and forth. I think it would be nice maybe if there was just a simple way to lock it in place, because if you're trying to shoot it over here, you will notice that, you know, as you're putting pressure on the gun, it might kind of swivel back and forth on you. It's not that bad, but I do think you know, a constructive upgrade would be just a simple way to lock it in place on one angle or another. This handle for me was really uncomfortable. I just can't even pinpoint what it is about the handle. Just the fact that it ergonomically does not feel good for my hand, for my style of shooting. I looked up here, it's just got a standard grip screw, so I'd assume you could probably just switch it out for, you know, another standard AR grip, but this one out of the box just doesn't do it for me. The angle, the ergonomics of it all. And the last thing I want to talk about is accuracy. I mentioned in the pros how accurate it was, especially at that 10 to 15 yard range, but I took the thing out to 25 yards and I couldn't hit the target. I don't know, it was probably a 6-inch circle or something. I thought that I would have at least got it on the target. I shot at it twice from the 25 yards and I couldn't hit it. Never hit the target. I mean, yeah, like I said, it's very, very possible it's user error. It just drove me crazy that I couldn't hit that thing. I could hit steel at that far, so I don't know why I couldn't hit that circle. But yeah, I mean, take it for what it's worth. Anyways, my overall thoughts on this gun is it's an absolute blast, man. It's super fun, it's super portable. It's just a fun gun to shoot as long as you can get over those little quirks. I think if you could replace the trigger, that'd be huge. You do have to get used to kind of this stock cheek weld. That's not something you're gonna get around. I would definitely recommend throwing on a red dot or something like I had on here. But otherwise, for a backpack gun, or honestly, just a fun gun to be able to shoot at the range, I think that this gun checks off all the marks. Price-wise, MSRP on this thing is like $1,835 or something, I want to say. You're going to find it a little bit cheaper if you shop around for it, certainly. And then Flawless Firearms, like I said, does have some fantastic deals, so make sure to check them out if you're in the market. But yeah, man, I'm a big fan of this little bundle of joy. The thing's a blast to shoot once you get over those quirks. Anyways, that's all I've got for you guys today. I hope you enjoyed it. If so, hit that thumbs up button. Leave me a comment down below. Let me know your thoughts. Subscribe, share. You guys know all the stuff. Check out Greenlight Shooting's Instagram, by the way, for more behind the scenes as we film videos and stuff like that on these. I'm also going to start doing more live stream videos, and I will announce those on Instagram stories. So make sure to follow it over there at GL Shooting if you're not already. That's all I've got. So we'll see you next time on Greenlight Shooting. Thanks so much for watching.